Hey Astro Kids, and welcome back. And in today's video, we will be talking about this transit of Neptune stationing retrograde in Aquarius. So this is for all of the followers here who are following those three extra planets of Neptune, Pluto, and Uranus. And typically we don't talk about these planets as much in Vedic astrology. But here we are going to talk a little bit about this transit, as this is a generational energy. So this is affecting us all collectively. And from the Vedic perspective, Neptune is going to be very similar to the energies of Lord Vishnu. So one of our creators, Lord Vishnu, is all about this Neptunian energy of this elusiveness, this dreaminess. And so this really takes us into this deep spiritual awareness here with this Neptunian influence. This is a very nurturing and very supportive energy, especially on a spiritual level. So this is really connecting us to higher divine forces through this energy of Neptune. Now, Neptune has been here in the sign of Aquarius for some time now. And Aquarius is a very unusual sign, very eccentric, very mysterious. It is all about helping humanity through knowledge, through science, through research, through this deeper insight and wisdom. It is also a sign that is all about rebelling against the norms of society, not fitting into a label or a box. And so this energy of Aquarius also has a very elusive feel to it as well. Aquarius is quite a difficult sign to figure out. And we'll talk more about that as we get into this video, because where Neptune will be stationing retrograde is in a very elusive and difficult to read nakshatra. Now, this is a transit that will fall from June 25th all the way to December 1st of this year. So, taking us all the way to the end of 2021. And this is a major transit, once again, that is all about our dreams, our internal world, what we nurture and support on a spiritual level. All of this internal insight and wisdom that exists deep within ourselves. So, this is really taking us to another plane, another dimension. And again, this is primarily talked about mostly in Western tropical astrology, but we're going to bring this into Vedic astrology to talk about what this looks like. So let's go ahead and jump right into this. So up on the screen here, I have the chart of this transit of Neptune stationing retrograde. Once again, this is going to happen here on the 25th of June, right around noontime for those who are following Eastern time. Now, this is a transit that will happen with Jupiter already stationed retrograde here in the sign of Aquarius as well. But Neptune hangs all the way at the end of Aquarius, moving backwards through this retrograde cycle. So Neptune is very close to the end of Aquarius. We're getting very close to that Pisces energy there, where once again this becomes very dreamy, very imaginative, very internalized. But here in the sign of Aquarius, it is also about exploring the other realms, the other dimensions. Remember that we talked about how Aquarius has this airiness about it as well, where especially when we start to get towards the end of the zodiac, coming closer to the sign of Pisces, Aquarius starts to become much more dreamy, much more imaginative, much more idealistic. And so there is a fogginess or a misunderstanding to the sign of Aquarius. And this adds to this dreamy layer of Neptune that is here within the sign of Aquarius. Now, we're not going to talk too much about aspects. Once again, we're looking at this from a Vedic perspective. So I am keeping in mind the aspects that we use over in Vedic astrology more so than in tropical Western astrology. But with Neptune sitting here in the sign of Aquarius, big story here is about our dreams, our imagination, our vision, on a spiritual level and how we are looking at our lives in general. This is a big time of looking at what is your mission, what is your purpose, what are your desires, what is it that you envision in your dreams that you are chasing, that you are looking for, that you are willing to nurture and hold in your space within your life. So this is a very deep and spiritual transit that we're going through. And this isn't going to be a long video. We're not going to talk a lot about this. Once again, there's not a lot that is tethered to this planet of Neptune in terms of Vedic astrology. But we're just going to dive into this a little bit, as this will be a major time to review your dreams in general. So, along with that Jupiter influence, this is going to be a huge time of, once again, looking at your dreams, pondering on your dreams, and especially with this happening in the nakshatra of Purva Bhadra, which is a Jupiter controlled nakshatra. So, once again, big time to look at your path, at your calling, at your higher purpose, and making sure that everything is in true alignment and truly nurturing to you and your soul at this time. Now, Purva Bhadra is a very difficult nakshatra to grasp or understand. There's a lot of duality that is behind this nakshatra, where this is a nakshatra that is easily changeable, that's very wandering, very wavering, where there's a lot of energy that is hidden, that is difficult to read or understand. So there is this element of Purva Bhadra that is very dark and mysterious. And once again, this mysterious energy is connected to the sign of Aquarius, as it is the rebel, it is the nonconformist, it is the one that stands out from the crowd. Aquarius is all about breaking the norms of society and doing things according to your own way, to what is true to who you are, and moving towards your goals, your dreams, without being under the constraints of the things holding you back in this physical reality. So, Aquarius is a very interesting sign, and especially when we get into this nakshatra of Purva Bhadra. Purva Bhadra also has a huge humanitarian influence behind it as well, where it is very protective. It is about standing up for the underdog. It is about standing up for certain causes and rights for others in life, and protesting. Activists are found within this nakshatra, very strong in terms of helping humanity and making a difference. But again, there is this very dark, mysterious, elusive nature that is behind this nakshatra, where there's a dual aspect to those who are born within the Purvabhadra nakshatra, where they appear to be one way, but they may have some sort of hidden talent or gift that they are doing in secret. So there's this dual nature where we see the symbol for this nakshatra as two faces or two swords. And the actual name of this star or this nakshatra, Purvabhadra, is the scorching pear or the burning pear. So, once again, this is a very intense energy that is very dark, very mysterious, very elusive. It is a wanderer, a dreamer. There's a lot of this very mysterious and dual like energy that is behind this nakshatra. Now, as we start to move into this Neptune retrograde, this will start off in the third pada of Purvabhadra, which is within a Gemini Navamsa. So this is especially a huge area of the curiosity of wanting to dream, wanting to imagine, to envision, to look deeper, to learn deeper. This quest for this deeper wisdom and insight is here within this third pada. And so this is a huge time for any interest of looking deeper within yourself, of meditating, of gravitating towards spiritual and mystical practices. This is a huge time where you can gain a lot of great insight through this third pada. As we start to shift towards the end of this transit here of Neptune retrograde, we will move back into the second pada, which is falling within a Taurus Navamsa. Here you want to be careful as there's a strong influence on indulging on the pleasures of life. Remember that Taurus is a very materialistic sign that is all about enjoying the comforts of life, having the security, having the stability, all of the tangible things that bring us happiness and comfort. And so this is an area where the intensity of Purva Bhadra increases this ability to indulge or to get lost into the material pleasures. This is especially an area where you want to be careful with this elusiveness, this dreaminess, this mysteriousness of this Neptune retrograde. A lot of issues coming up from the past can surface in terms of addictions, in terms of patterns, beliefs, and cycles that need to be worked through at this time as we're going through this Neptune retrograde. So let's go ahead and talk about the horoscope for this transit here of Neptune stationing retrograde. And keep in mind, for those of you who are new to this channel, that this is not based on Western tropical astrology. This is based solely on Vedic astrology, which is following the sidereal zodiac. And not only this, but Vedic astrology is based upon your moon sign and not your sun sign. So this is going to be entirely dependent upon your moon or your ascendant. The moon being your emotions, your thoughts, the way that your mind works. It is all about your behavioral patterns and cycles. And so the moon is a huge part of who you are. And so that is definitely an area where you would want to look at your horoscope from. Another big area is going to be the ascendant, because the ascendant is the pattern of your physical life, right? The ascendant is why you have come into this life. It is where your lessons, your experiences are being filtered through. And along with that, it is your physical body and your personality. And so this is two areas where I would suggest that you look at your horoscope from is your moon sign and your ascendant sign, not your sun sign. So let's go ahead and start it off for those of you with an Aries ascendant. For those who have their moon or their ascendant in Aries, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde in your 11th house, where once again, through this transit of Jupiter retrograde in the 11th, there's a huge focus on your dreams, your ambitions, and with Neptune here, making sure that everything is really what you want it to be. Neptune has a tendency to make things very foggy, very elusive, very mystical. And so this is a time of making sure that everything that you're going after is truly in alignment with your purpose, your calling, your mission. If there are things that are out of alignment, that are out of your truth, then this is a time to really come within yourself and to find that truth within yourself and to come back into a space of alignment with your purpose. And especially as we get to that second para of Purva Bhadra, huge influence in terms of the indulgence, in terms of the desires being increased heavily through the intensity of this nakshatra. So you want to be cautious in terms of simply going for short-term pleasures, for material pleasures at this time impulsively without fully thinking it through. For those of you with a Taurus moon or Taurus ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde in your 10th house. And so huge focus in terms of your career and being able to pull out your deeper insight and wisdom into your workspace. You also want to be careful though, because Neptune again has this illusionary factor to it. where this can make you daydream and wander a little bit in terms of your purpose and your role in society. So you want to be cautious about how you are looking in terms of your achievements, your accomplishments, your career efforts, making sure that everything is on par, as there can be this drifting away from responsibilities. For those of you with a Gemini moon or Gemini ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde within your ninth house. Perfect position for this Neptune retrograde, as a lot of deep wisdom and insight will be coming into your life at this time. And this can come through mentors, teachers, guides, but mostly this is a time of meditation, of reflection, of looking inward, of going on trips that are in tune with your intuition, giving you this deeper insight, this deeper ability to understand and to support your dreams internally. For those of you with a Cancer moon or Cancer ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde in your eighth house. This is a very difficult position where there can be some negative or destructive habits that can come up to the surface at this time. And so you want to pay close attention to your discipline, to your commitment, to your goals, your responsibilities in life, making sure that everything is on par. This is a time of being cautious of any repeating destructive, negative patterns from the past, making sure that you are not repeating the same mistakes. So, this is a major test of making sure that you are on par with all of your responsibilities and commitments at this time. For those of you with a Leo moon or Leo ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde in your seventh house. Big issue here in terms of relationships, where Jupiter is already stationed retrograde here in this seventh house for you. A lot of misunderstanding or misinterpretation can take place here for those of you with a Libra moon, Libra ascendant. And so you want to be cautious in terms of relationships, in terms of how you're expressing yourself, how you're dealing with others, especially with Sagittarius sitting there in your fifth house and with Pisces that is sitting there in that eighth house as well. Big area where relationships are being highlighted hugely. There can be some repeating patterns or lessons that are coming up to the surface in terms of how you're dealing with your partnerships in general. For those of you with a Virgo moon or Virgo ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde in your sixth house. Similar to what we talked about with those of you who have Cancer moon, Cancer ascendant, this is a huge time to pay close attention to your responsibilities, to your commitments, as Neptune brings this daydreaminess into this sixth house. You want to pay close attention to your everyday life and all of the tasks and responsibilities that need to get done, that you're not drifting away from these responsibilities and goals within your life. For those of you with a Libra moon or Libra ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde back in your fifth house. Great position for Neptune here, where a lot of creativity is coming in here through this transit. This is a great time to tap into your intuition, to your imagination, to your inner world, as you can pull a lot of creativity, a lot of skills, a lot of talents out through your internal experience. For those of you with a Scorpio moon or Scorpio ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde through your fourth house. Great time, similar to those with the Libra moon, Libra ascendant, to look within yourself, to sit with your imagination, your deeper thoughts, your intuition, as a lot can come up to the surface. A lot of great insight, great wisdom, great imagination, great inspiration that you can pull from through this transit. For those of you with a Sagittarius moon or Sagittarius ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde within your third house. So, big issue in terms of communication. This can be a time where there's a lot of misunderstanding, where there's a lot of miscommunication in terms of how you are connecting to others. And so you want to be cautious through this transit here to make sure that you are clear in how you are presenting your point and how you are expressing yourself, as Neptune brings this daydreaminess into this third house of communication. And especially in terms of business, you want to be very clear and precise, with that third house also being connected to courage and entrepreneurship. For those of you with a Capricorn moon or Capricorn ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde in your second house. Similar to Sagittarius, you want to be careful about how you are communicating, how you're expressing yourself. Neptune comes into this second house of your speech and your values, where you want to make sure that your worth and your values are clear and understood through how you are speaking. This can also be a time where your speech can charm others. There's a very mystical and imaginative quality to Neptune as it comes into this second house, where you can easily charm others with this energy. You also want to be careful in terms of your savings, your finances, as Neptune again can make this area very daydreamy, where you can lose track of your money and how you're managing things. So you want to pay close attention to your responsibilities and commitments. For those of you with an Aquarius moon or Aquarius ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing through your first house. So you, Aquarius, is going to have this Neptune influence within yourself. And so this is a time where you can come off as very charming, very daydreamy, very imaginative. But with this in retrograde, there can be a lot of issues that come up to the surface around this, where you are really misunderstood, where you're having difficulty understanding others, or difficulty coming into a space of reality at this time. And so this is especially a time that is great for meditation, for self-reflection, for looking inward, but there can be a lot of challenges that are centered around actually connecting to people and being understood by others. And this is a big area to work through, to grow through internally, to look at where those issues and conflicts are, and to look at how they can be resolved within your experience. For those of you with a Pisces moon or Pisces ascendant, this will be Neptune stationing retrograde back in your 12th house. Great time for meditation, great time for having a dream journal by your side, for journaling, for walking, for anything that can bring you into a space of peace and deep clarity. So, this is a huge time of your internal work. Your intuition can be heightened through this Neptune transit, but there's a lot here subconsciously to work through in terms of blocks and difficulties that are coming up to the surface. So, this has been my horoscope for those of you who have Neptune transiting through your houses, who follow this extra planet. I hope you all enjoyed this. If you like this video, feel free to leave a like as well as a comment. If you are new to this channel, don't forget to hit the subscribe button along with the notification bell so that you don't miss out on any new content. If you would like to learn more in terms of Vedic astrology, I do have a course available in the group, Daquan Jones. So make sure that you check that out. I will leave a link down below in the description along with the comments. If you have any additional questions, anything that you'd like to add, or anything that you'd like me to bring up in a future video, leave it down below and I will get back to you as soon as possible. I want to thank you all so much for joining. I hope you all have a great day, and I will see you in the next video.